Part 3 Restricted Zone 12. 3 months after Joer Verde disappeared, a sealed internal memo surfaced. No sender. No signature. Just a classification stamp. Restricted Zone 12 Immediate Containment Protocol. That phrase had never appeared in any public database before, and it was dated the morning after 312 people vanished. The document referenced something called an event threshold breach. It described a sudden energy surge detected beneath a civilian overlay structure. Civilian overlay structure. That's not how you describe a town. That's how you describe a cover. According to the memo, the underground facility had been inactive for decades. Cold storage. Minimal oversight. Until 3:17 a.m. Then came the most chilling line in the document. Population exposure level exceeds recoverable parameters. Recoverable. That implies they tried, or considered trying, and failed. A year later, a retired structural engineer named Michael R. Halpern attempted to go public. He claimed he worked on reinforcement mapping beneath Joer Verde in the early 80s. In a recorded interview before he withdrew his statements, he said, "We weren't building under the town. We were stabilizing something already there." When asked what something meant, he paused for 8 seconds. Then replied, "It wasn't a bunker." Days later, Halpern retracted everything. Said he was misquoted. He declined all further interviews. Independent researchers later uncovered something strange in federal budget allocations from the late 1990s. A sudden increase in funding labeled under geological containment and atmospheric interference. No public project matched that description. But the funding spike occurred weeks after Joer Verde disappeared. Containment. Interference. Those are not words used for evacuation efforts. Then came the blackout. In 2001, a former data archivist anonymously claimed that Joer Verde's digital records weren't deleted. They were relocated, moved into a restricted internal archive labeled Z12 Civilian Assets. Assets. Not citizens. Not victims. Assets. The implication was clear. The people of Joer Verde were categorized as part of the incident. Not casualties. Components. One final piece of leaked information surfaced years later. A thermal satellite scan taken months after the disappearance. The land above Joer Verde appeared normal. But below the surface, there were intermittent heat signatures. Not constant. Not natural. Pulsing. As if machinery were still operating underground. Long after the town was gone. So let's put it together. A Cold War subterranean facility. An unexplained energy surge at 3:17 a.m. A radar distortion in the sky. A population described as exposure level. A containment protocol activated within hours. And a town erased from maps. If this was an accident, why categorize civilians as assets? If it was evacuation, why erase identities? And if it was containment, what exactly was being contained? The people, or something else? Officially, Joer Verde never existed. Unofficially, 312 people were present the night something activated beneath that desert. No bodies were found. No relocation records exist. No graves. Just restricted land and silence. Sometimes the government hides mistakes. Sometimes it hides experiments. And sometimes, it hides thresholds. Because if something breached that night, and containment was required, then the real question isn't what happened in 1998. The real question is Restricted Zone 12 still active? And if it is, what is it holding now? This was The Vanishing Village of Joer Verde. If you want the full compiled documentary version with all 3 parts combined into one deep dive feature, subscribe to Shadow of Liberty. Because some towns disappear, and some are sealed.